Hello and welcome to the Sports Report. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, your host for this program that's all about the world of sports in Vermont and beyond. Today on the show, you can call it the Ultimate Show. We've got members of the men's and women's Middlebury Pranksters Ultimate Frisbee teams here to talk about one of the most successful D3 Ultimate programs in the country. Later, we'll hear about the sport's popularity at the high school level with Vermont Ultimate's youth program coordinator. And a high school baseball star from Colchester is here to talk about achieving something on the mound most baseball pitchers only dream about. If you're with us on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and get your ultimate Frisbee questions into the chat now. If you're listening via radio or podcast, we encourage you to come hang out with us on Mondays at 2 on the Sports Report YouTube channel. I'm on set with producer Nathaniel Wilson. Hey there, Nathaniel.
Hello, Mitch. How you doing?
You seem pretty good.
Oh, yeah. The sun is shining. The birds are chirping. It may be raining, but not in here.
Yeah, because all the Boston sports teams you don't like are out of the playoffs, pretty much. Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that why you're so happy?
Yeah, we had 3 Game 7s in one of the best NBA weekends that I can remember in a while.
For some of us, yeah.
Yeah, one of which included the Boston Celtics falling to the Philadelphia 76ers after being up 3-1 in that series.
Did you not pick the Celtics to go to the at least Eastern Conference Finals, if not the championship?
I did. I should apologize to our audience at home because it was just last week when we had our friend Jack Main on. I did say the Celtics looked like they were in prime position to make a run to the finals, and I think that is the best illustration of how quickly things change in pro sports and in the NBA specifically.
We both watched that Game 7 against Philly. What happened to the Celtics?
I mean, if you ask Jaylen Brown, who might be still live streaming on Twitch like we're live streaming our show on YouTube now, the refs had it in for the Celtics, is what he saw.
Yeah, that's not a great look because I saw that Game 7, and what I saw was the Celtics fall way behind.
Yeah.
They clawed back. With about 2 minutes to go, it was either a tie game or the Celtics were only down by a point. And they had plenty of chances to move in front for good. They had clean look threes by players that normally drain those shots, whether it's Derek White or Peyton Pritchard. They were just throwing up bricks. That's what I saw. It's got nothing to do with the refs.
Yeah, and being without Jason Tatum definitely hurts, although he did only play 16 games in the regular season this year, and Jaylen Brown flourished this season without him. Yeah. It's tough because we had talked earlier in the season about Anthony Simons being a player that we both really enjoyed during his tenure on the Celtics this year. They shipped him off in the trade deadline for Nikola Vucevic, who doesn't get on the floor for 1 second in that Game 7.
Even a second, yes. Yeah. I mean, you do have to wonder about that. All right, so the Celtics are out. How do you think the Sixers are going to do now against the New York Knicks?
I think they're going to do great. Like the Knicks obviously looked really good in that Game 6 when they beat the Hawks 1 million points to 0.
Exactly.
But the Knicks had struggled earlier in that series, and I think are specifically susceptible to guards who play well on the ball. C.J. McCollum balled out for so much of that series because they don't have anyone to defend him. And when you look at Tyrese Maxey, he excels in ways that McCollum doesn't even, and I think in ways that will specifically really hurt the Knicks.
All right. See, I believed in your basketball knowledge up until you had picked the Celtics, because we'll see. I think Knicks in 7 in this one. It should be a great series, though.
Yeah.
Have to mention, too, I watch a lot of hockey. The Game 7 between the Tampa Bay Lightning and Montreal Canadiens, one for the ages. Only the Montreal Canadiens, Nathaniel, only them could get a total of 9 shots on goal for the entire game.
Yeah.
For the entire game, and still win 2-1. They won it on an incredible goal by Alex Newhook. A puck came off the boards. It was hanging in midair. He was at the side of the net. He batted it out of midair, hand-eye coordination, hit the goalie, Andrei Vasilevsky, in the arm. He never saw it, banked in off his arm, and they win. The hockey gods love the Canadiens. That's all I can tell you.
I mean, when I was living in Tampa years ago, and the Lightning were winning all those championships, and then since I moved away, they can't get out of the first round.
Yeah, see, they need you back. That's what they do. We'll be watching that, of course. The Buffalo Sabres now will play the Canadiens in the next round. It should be very exciting. But if you want to hear more of what's happening about in Vermont sports, you are in the right place. Stick around. And it's time for the High Five, the segment where we count down 5 of the biggest stories from the last week in Vermont sports. And coming in at number 5, we start with a somber note. Vermont skier, snow groomer, and social media influencer Bernie Rosso has passed away. It happened on April 23rd. He was 45. He was hiking up California's Bloody Mountain with some friends. The Manchester Journal reports that Rosso died from an apparent heart attack. He was born in Williamsville and was well known in the skiing world for his on-the-slope skills and friendly, outgoing nature. His partner, Amber Feld, announced there will be a celebration of his life in Williamsville on July 7th.
And at number 4, fresh off her induction in the Vermont Sports Hall of Fame, UVM women's lacrosse head coach Sarah Dalton-Graddick has been named the 2026 America East Coach of the Year. Dalton-Graddick led the Catamounts to a share of their first ever regular season title and a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament following a program-best 14-5 regular season record. The Catamounts fell just short of the America East Championship yesterday in a 13-11 loss to Albany.
At number 3, the Middlebury Men's Ultimate Club went 6-0 at their regional tournament over the weekend to book their spot in the Division III Nationals. The week before, the Middlebury women's team went 4-0 to claim their region. They're headed to the Nationals as well. The Pranksters, as both the men's and women's teams are known, will each vie for national titles in Waukegan, Illinois, later this month.
And at number 2, Colchester High School senior baseball pitcher Jackson Pecor threw a no-hitter last Tuesday in a 6-0 win over BFA St. Albans. The 89-pitch gem was a career first for the Lakers starter who committed to Eastern Connecticut State University in the fall, and we'll hear more from Jackson about his record-setting pitching performance coming up in just a moment.
And coming in at number 1, the UVM Ruckus Women's Ultimate Club sent 2 teams to their regional tournament this weekend, and both earned a bid to nationals. The A team secured a bid despite losing to Tufts University, while the B team beat Brown University 8-7 to become the first B team ever to qualify for the USA Ultimate College Championships. And we'll be right back with Colchester High School pitcher Jackson Pecor. Stick around. And welcome back to the Sports Report. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, and I'm here with Jackson Pecor from Colchester High School. Hey, Jackson.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going really good. You're doing even better. I got to say, man, congratulations. You pitched a no-hitter last Tuesday. Unbelievable 6-0 win over BFA St. Albans. Now, this was a 7-inning game, right? That's what high school games are.
All
let's
7
get that
innings.
clear.
Yeah.
But come on, a no-hitter, man. That's unreal.
Yeah, it was sweet. It's definitely surreal. It's definitely a bucket list.
I would think so. The first thing I have to ask about pitching a no-hitter is you were doing your bullpen warm-ups, I assume, before the game. Mm-hmm. Did you feel anything then like, hey, man, I feel really good, or was it just like a normal session for you?
Honestly, it was definitely a normal session. I was feeling good. I wouldn't say like I was feeling the best of the best. Like last game I pitched, I honestly was feeling a little bit better. But I just happened to do good. I don't know. Pitching is definitely unique. So you can do good and you can do bad depending on how you feel. So
what about the weather conditions? Because, here we are in a Vermont spring, which of course feels like late fall or winter in other places, mm-hmm. right? Was it cold that day? Was it the conditions right? How were you feeling on the field?
It was a solid 55. It wasn't too cold. I'm pretty sure I had some sleeves on for some of the game, took them off for some, but the weather doesn't really affect me much unless it's like freezing. Okay. And it was no sunny. It was just like clouds.
You pitched in Vermont for a while.
Yeah,
you know the deal.
Exactly.
All right, so you're going through the game. Maybe it's getting into second, third. As you're getting towards the 4th and 5th inning here, were you aware that there was just zeros here? I mean, you had 3 walks in the game, but you didn't give up any hits. Were you aware of that status going on?
I knew I had no hits, but that's not what I was focused on really. It was a 0-0 ball game at that point, and I was just trying to help my team stay in this game because it was really close, and I wasn't even realize that it was a no-hitter.
Now, that's really interesting. 0-0, how late in the game?
Yeah, I think it ended in the 5th, and I think we scored 6 runs in the 6th.
Oh, my gosh. So a really tight affair. All you're thinking about then is you want to win the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Was there one pitch in particular that was working for you that day?
My fastball. My fastball was on it that day. Typically, I'm a fastball and slider guy. I like to mix it up, but I was going right for my fastball the whole day, and it was working.
Who's your catcher?
My catcher is Colton LaFave. He's also like my best friend. I love Colton. Yeah,
oh, no way. That's so cool.
He's going to Plymouth State to play football, and he's going to be the quarterback.
Oh my gosh! So he's your regular catcher, and he was your battery mate for this particular game.
Yeah.
As the game was moving on, what's your communication like with him during the game? Was he talking about the no hitter?
It's kind of like a curse to talk about it in game. So we were trying to avoid it, but we both definitely knew what was going on.
And what about the rest of your team? Were they giving you the silent treatment in the dugout?
Yeah, no, they were kind of letting me get in my zone. Typically, they leave me alone. I'm definitely a different person when I'm pitching, so I go to the corner of the dugout and I try and mentally lock in. But yeah, they were definitely like leaving me alone a little bit.
All business.
Exactly.
So this was an away game for Colchester. You're in St. Albans. You didn't have that home crowd then spurring you on like you might have. But I have to wonder, as it was getting later in the game, did any of the St. Albans supporters there, did they start maybe rooting for you, knowing that they wanted to perhaps see history happen?
I would say possibly. When I'm pitching, I'm pretty locked in and I'm not really listening to the crowd much. But definitely walking off the field, I can't hear either side, or it just kind of sounds like one big roar. But there are definitely supporters on both sides.
All right, so you guys go up 6-0. Colchester's up 6-0 at this point. You've got that. Their last chance in the inning. You have to know at that point too. You're on the precipice of a no-hitter.
Yeah.
What was the last at bat like?
It was a strikeout, actually. It was a former teammate of mine, Jonas Wagner. Yeah. 7th inning, we already had 2 outs. Got 2 quick ones, and Jonas comes up, and I'm like, oh, he's a pretty solid bat. And I tried getting up with the fastball. It worked, and then I threw a slider, and it was a swing and a miss. And then I blew another fastball by him, and it was no hitter.
Swing and miss, or was it a strikeout look? Swing and miss.
Yeah.
I mean, what a way to end it.
Yeah.
So at that moment, then what happens? I mean, I have to imagine everyone's rushing on the field. You're getting the whole hugs. What's going on?
Yeah,
there?
no, dugout came rushing out. I gave a little fist pump, and I was like, "Let's go!" It was pretty fun. Yeah.
So great. You're committed to Eastern Connecticut University next year. You're going to pitch for them?
Yeah, I'm gonna pitch. They just got a brand new turf field, so it's gonna be sweet.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Go Warriors. Okay.
Yeah.
And I understand there's a Futures League in your future. Is that right?
Yeah, this summer, pretty soon after I graduate, I'm gonna live in New Hampshire and play with the Nashua Silver Knights. So I'm gonna be playing against the local Lake Monsters a lot.
Oh my gosh, Jackson, that is just so exciting. I got to tell you, and here's a question: what do you, Roger Clemens, and Pedro Martinez and Randy Johnson not have in common? They've never pitched a no-hitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow. Now, look, I don't know if they did it in high school. Yeah. Maybe Pedro did at some point in high school. My point is there are great pitchers who played this game. They can go through and make it to the Hall of Fame and never do what you did on the field. It's an incredible accomplishment. You'll have this forever.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. Definitely, I got a lot of love for the next couple of days.
That's what I was going to ask. Your friends, family, what was the reaction? Your phone must have blown up.
My dad got pretty happy. I owe a lot to my dad because he's guided me through baseball the whole way, and he was the first person I had to give a hug to. And then next day, Wednesday, obviously I got a lot of texts and whatnot, but actually Dan French, this meant a lot. Dan French, the owner of the Strike Zone, who I pay a lot of my skills to, he called me on the bus ride home, and he was like, "Congrats, man, this is awesome." And I was like, it meant a lot that he was watching and stuff.
That's incredible. The Strike Zone is a place in Essex, you said, that it helps develop baseball players.
Oh, you practice there? I go there. I was there yesterday. I was playing catch with my friends and hitting. It's just a fun environment, and I got really close with Dan. So. Just
fantastic. I mean, so many Vermonters, so happy for you, so proud for you. We really appreciate you coming on the Sports Report to talk about this accomplishment, and congratulations once again.
Thank you for having me.
Jackson Pecor, folks, and we'll be right back with members of the Middlebury Pranksters Ultimate Team. This is the Sports Report. We have a packed house here today. This is so great. Our couch has never been full before, but it is today with members of the men's and women's Middlebury Pranksters Ultimate Team. So from left to right, we've got Liam Reynolds. Hi, Liam.
Hello. Nice to be here.
We have Oscar DeSwan Aarons as well.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
And Izzy Laramie is here too.
Hi.
Yeah, you guys, thank you so much for coming in. I want to talk about the success of Middlebury Ultimate, and Nathaniel Wilson, our producer, is here as well.
Yes, hello.
With questions for you guys. Congratulations, first of all, on the regionals. You guys, what happened there? You kind of blew through it, Liam. Everybody did very well.
Yeah, I mean, I can only speak for our men's tournament, but It was a really solid tournament. We played super solid both days. Ended up winning the region, which is our goal. We like to really prove it to everyone that we are the best team at each tournament, and so we give it our all in every game. We won our semifinal game, and we had already qualified for nationals at that point, so the finals was kind of just for fun, really, but we brought it, and it was really awesome.
That's so cool.
Super fun.
Where were the regionals held? Where were you guys playing?
We were playing in Portland, Maine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oscar DeSwan Aarons, I want to ask you, you are a cutter for the team. Can you kind of explain what that means?
Yeah, so there's really two positions within Ultimate. You've got cutters and handlers. If handlers are like the quarterback of the offense, they sort of do the throws. There's usually two of them in the backfield. The cutters are more like the receivers, often playing downfield and making cuts, which are kind of like running routes in football. And I play cutter on our offensive line, which means that we go on the field after the other team has scored and we're receiving the disc. And the goal there is to really be really sharp, and you want to be almost perfect in being able to punch it in every time. Yeah.
Izzy Laramie, you're a cutter as well for the women's team. Also great success. Congratulations winning the regionals. We went 4-0 in the regionals.
Yeah, we played 3 games on Saturday in Williams, and then the next morning went to play for the first bid.
Fantastic. Now, as a cutter, as Oscar was just describing it there, you can still throw. Obviously, you're going to make long passes. There are a lot of similarities with Ultimate to football because you have routes that you run. You can go long and hit somebody in the end zone, and that's what you're trying to do, right? I mean, how would you describe the game to somebody that's never played it before?
I'd probably say there's 2 main formations, or however you want to describe it. There's vertical stack and then horizontal stack, and then there's a few different ways you can play defense. Like you can play person defense, or you can play zone, which is more like marking spaces, which is similar to some other field sports. So I'd just say it looks flexible, and sometimes it depends on the weather. Like if it's super windy, you're gonna play zone. People aren't gonna be hucking it downfield as much. So it kind of depends on the team you're playing, but also the conditions.
Yeah, I want to get to the questions about the conditions in a moment, but one more question about the sort of the play of the game. One of the things I loved playing, and this sport has been around for a long time, I played in college back in the day, is the defensive part, and you don't have to intercept a pass from someone to break up the play and go the other way. You can knock that Frisbee down, right? And that turns it over?
Yeah, you can either catch it or you can knock it out. It can go out of bounds, and then that's also a turn.
Nathaniel Wilson, you played in college, right? I mean, you love this sport.
I did. I do. I'm a big ultimate Frisbee lover. I played down in Florida when I was in school, and we would play against the Middlebury men's team because they travel. I want to know some about that. You guys are D3, but I know that for years the Middlebury men's team has competed in D1 tournaments far and wide, right?
We've run into this problem of it's hard to find really good competition in New England in the early spring because there's no grass available. It's all snowed over. And so for years now, we've gone down to bigger D1 tournaments in the South in the early spring. So this year, our first tournament of the year was Florida Warm-Up, which is kind of one of the marquee D1 events of the year. And we ended up coming in 10th at it, which was a super good result for us. We were really proud of that. In past years, we've gone to tournaments in Texas, but yeah, we travel around a lot. And I think in comparison to other sports, there's a lot of crossover in between D3 and D1 in Ultimate. Because as a top D3 school, we can be competitive with some of the mid to high D1 schools. We really like to scrimmage UVM. They're a great competition for us. There's a lot of crossover, whereas there isn't in other sports at the college level.
Oscar, I have to ask this question. I don't want to bring up bad memories, but last year, you guys make it to the final. You go up against Lewis and Clark, lost by a point, right? I mean, super close.
Brutal.
You on a mission this year?
Yeah, we have something to prove. I mean, we came into this season returning more than 13, 14 seniors, including last year's Player of the Year, Peter Mans. We have a bunch of talent on our squad. We had actually beaten that Lewis and Clark team in pool play, and then we ended up ousting Davenport in the semifinals, who were by far the favorites. So coming up short in that finals was brutal, but we've all definitely taken it to heart and been working extra hard And yeah, we're the number one team in the country right now. So yeah, something to prove for sure.
Top ranked. Is Lewis and Clark still the team to beat? Are they kind of your major rivals at this point, or are you concerned about some other teams too?
I mean, major rivals definitely in the sense of we want to get them back. Yeah. But I mean, there's plenty of other good teams at the top. Carleton College, their second team, CHOP, is also top ranked in the country. Elon University from down in North Carolina are also very strong. So yeah, I mean, we go into every matchup respecting the team and just trying to give it our all. And yeah.
Izzy Laramie, what are we looking at on the women's side here? What are some teams that you're concerned about, and what are your chances of, you got a chance to win it all as well?
Yeah, we've traded a bit with Wesleyan. They're probably one of the teams that's in like the top 5. I'm not sure what the rankings look like right now. They change depending on the week / like what website you're looking at. But also Sneetches, and that's Bryn Mawr. And Carleton as well, which we played at a tournament already, but there's a few schools we don't get to play a lot during the regular season that we'll just get to play at nationals.
How are you feeling going in though?
Super excited. We have so many like freshmen, some of which have played Ultimate before, and some of which who are just been so enthusiastic to learn, as well as like a lot of returning players. And I just think this year everyone's been super collaborative. Like Middlebury, historically we don't have coaches, like it's a student run program, and so we just have tons of like knowledgeable people on the MLP side, and everyone's just super willing to like give feedback, share feedback, and it's like a team that's where the like motivation is just intrinsic, and everyone kind of eggs each other on, which is really cool.
Oh, that's so great. Because everybody wants, it's all the same goal to get in there.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you don't have coaches at Middlebury. I just wanted to ask, for people who don't understand, Ultimate is a club sport at so many schools and not a varsity sport. And so for many teams, they're traveling with one coach or two coaches. You guys are traveling without any. Ultimate also is a sport where you're heading into tournament weekends where you may play 7-8 games across 2 days. I'm just wondering, and maybe we can start on the end here, and you can all answer, but how much pressure, I guess, do you have on yourselves, and do you put on your teammates to take care of your bodies across a weekend of play when you're not traveling with trainers? And often there's one medical tent at a tournament for so many teams, and only the injured players are going to it. You guys who have just played this past weekend, what is that like to take care of your body for a weekend of Frisbee?
It's definitely tough. And I think you mentioned this earlier in your comment, but Ultimate's a club sport and it's not a varsity sport, which means that we don't really get the same support from our school with like setting things up organizationally. So I think I'll let the others like talk about like the taking care of the bodies part, but like I think it's an extra stressor that like we like don't really get to take our classes off quite as much for Ultimate tournaments and stuff, and we have to organize like buying flights by ourselves, and the school gives us some money, but a lot of the pressure is on us to like raise money through donations from people so that we can fund our season. So that's kind of like an added stressor, is definitely that we have to organize stuff ourselves, and then going into tournament weekends, like early mornings of travel, trying to find housing because hotels are expensive. That definitely adds to it. But yeah, over a tournament weekend, it's definitely taking care of your body is super hard. We played 4 games on Saturday, and I know on Sunday morning we were all feeling it. Like I know personally, I have my watch on. I burned over 5,000 calories on Saturday playing those 4 games. So it's certainly tough.
Yeah, and I mean, we typically practice 2 times or 3 times a week, but we just put a real emphasis on players taking time outside of that practice as well to take care of their own bodies, whether that's just getting good sleep, eating right, stretching, doing all that stuff. We don't have access to physical therapists on our campus, so making sure what to do with your body to get it right and ready for tournament weekend is something that we really emphasize on our team. But yeah, the name of the game is really personal responsibility because we have so much of it ourselves, and we have to really organize everything. I'll have to shout out Liam. He's the president of our club and really organizes absolutely everything. But yeah, I mean, it's all just taken into our own hands and knowing our bodies.
Yeah, and huge shout out to all the parents. We always have parents coming and like bringing sandwich stuff and just things like snacks on the field. So I think at least for the New England tournaments and then even for nationals, there are parents who come and they'll buy the whole team Chipotle and all these things that they do like behind the scenes to make sure that we're feeding ourselves and like taking care of our bodies. Like we definitely love their support.
I love that. And I love the fact too that they're recognizing that this is a really demanding sport. The cool thing about Ultimate is you've got to have endurance because you're running for long periods of time, but you have to be quick as well. There's a lot of stopping and starting and a lot of cutting. I mean, it really takes a lot of, it's a demanding sport physically for sure. I am wondering too about why is Middlebury so good at this at both the men's and women's level? What is, again, you're doing this all yourselves. Liam, what is it about Middlebury you think that makes for such great Ultimate players?
It's all the culture. We have a super awesome culture surrounding our teams. It's super fun. I think in the fall we run all mixed Ultimate for the most part, which is the thing a lot of teams don't do. So in the fall, our men's and women's team practice pretty much exclusively together.
That's great.
Playing mixed, which is really fun. We have a ton of fun social events, and I think we just attract a lot of people that are really, really lovely to be around. And the result of that is that people want to play for us. And so what happens is Middlebury is a small school, so we don't get quite as many people who have played Ultimate in high school. But we get a lot of people coming out of the woodwork at Middlebury who learn the sport and who maybe have played a little bit and become really invested in it. And it ends up working out for both of us, both our teams really well.
Yeah. Also, something that's unique about Middlebury is we field a B team, a second team, which is not usual for D3. Both Liam and I are products of the B team, playing there our freshman year, and I know a lot of my personal growth was from being on that team and getting a lot of extra reps. And even though I was cut from the first team, still being able to play at tournaments throughout the season. So having that talent development is super helpful to making sure that we always stay with players that are interested and eager.
And Izzy Laramie, is there a lot of that camaraderie, I guess, between the men's and the women's squads here? You know, I was thinking about the U.S. men's Olympic and women's hockey teams, which were so supportive of each other. They both go on to win gold, of course. Maybe apples and oranges, but maybe not comparing here. You've got such successful clubs on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's helpful that we play under the same name. Honestly, a lot of schools, they have different names for their open and closed division teams. And we do a lot of our social things together. I'm one of the social chairs. We have traditions and we'll do barbecues. All of our weekend festivities are together, and we do community standards in the fall, and that's all the leadership comes together, and we're this is what we expect from everyone in the community, because while there's people playing on the field, there's also a wider social circle and people who are frisbee adjacent and whatnot. So we just to make sure that everyone feels inclusive, feels included, and that it's just an inclusive and supportive environment.
Is it okay to use the word frisbee, by the way, or is it not cool? Do you have to say disc, Liam?
Frisbee is definitely cool. I would definitely say that I play frisbee. Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that, because that's what I've been using. Liam Reynolds, let me stick with you here, and I'll throw this out to anyone if you don't know the answer. Who came up with the name Pranksters? Where'd that come from?
So the name Pranksters actually comes from the book, The Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the Merry Pranksters.
Ken Casey and the Pranksters. This is exactly what I was hoping you would say.
Yes, that's exactly it. So that's where the name Pranksters originated from. I learned that early on my freshman year. And yeah, I think we like to embrace the kind of silly, crazy culture that
This is the first I'm hearing of this. I didn't even know until right now.
Well, let me tell you, Oscar, as an older gentleman here who is a big Grateful Dead fan for many years, I was well aware of Ken Casey and the Pranksters. I was actually hoping that would be the origins of the name.
It is
so
the
cool.
origins, yeah.
I love that.
It's pretty cool.
But you don't wear tie-dye shirts or anything like that?
Not currently. We've been trying to get a tie-dye shirt with like a cool drawing of a prankster on it, but we haven't quite gotten around to it. But I'm hoping that comes out soon, maybe next year.
Sorry, Liam. We do wear flair though, and we do flair pass down, like just kind of crazy clothing we wear on the field, like skirts, dresses, jerseys, things that you wouldn't see people typically wearing when they play sports. And we do like flair pass down at the end of at senior year. And I know there's like seniors who have over like 200 pieces of like random clothing. Like they'll have bins under their bed. So while we might not wear tie-dye shirts, we wear literally anything on the field up until nationals. And then when we're streamed, they want us to wear our uniforms. But
yeah, then you get
like,
serious.
That's between like both of the teams too. Like people will pass down flair to people on MGP and MLP. So
I love that tradition of flair. This is so cool.
Yeah, how do you bring that prankster energy to the field? I know from my time playing, I think of Middlebury as like the bright pink jerseys and the guys that are out there having fun. I'm wondering how the three of you embody the prankster when you're on the field.
I mean, I just love to play this sport. Like, I think it's really fun. I think really what helps for me is like, I just love my team and I love my teammates. And it's really easy to have a really good time when you get to do an activity you love with like all of your best friends. So whenever I play, I try to like channel that. And it's also just like when you're this past weekend in regionals, I was playing on stream in a Kevin Durant Supersonics jersey, which is not the Middlebury Pranksters jersey I'm wearing right now. But I think when you have the chance to like do something like that, it becomes easy to just let loose and have fun on the field. And so I think that's kind of where the prankster energy comes from for me, is it just kind of flows naturally.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, tournament weekends can be kind of grueling and long drives, stuff like that, logistics. So when you just are able to like, you're finally warmed up and you're like on the field and you're ready to play, it's not really hard to get excited because that's like what we do it for. And also another thing is that Ultimate is a self-police sport, self-refereed sport. And so spirit of the game is kind of part of it. It's important. Calling fouls is on the players, and you have to discuss them, and that's how the rulings are made. So it's really important to have that prankster spirit on the field so that we know that we're playing to the integrity of the game, and we're really proud of that.
What's the support been like on campus? Is do folks come out and see the games, and would you like a little more support, a little less? Not less.
Yeah, no, good question. MLP hasn't had any tournaments in Vermont or like on campus at all, but I know MGP had a tournament and like both of the teams come out and a lot of people's like friends and families will come out and play. But just because we are so isolated in Middlebury, Vermont, and we do travel a lot, it's hard to get like that physical support. But I know people like follow our Instagrams and like we're posting like player bios right now, and I know my friends will be like, ooh, I saw that you guys won, or like I saw that this happened and was being streamed. So people like kind of show it in different ways.
Yeah, I was wondering, as the team gets better and better, when the success comes, more people obviously are going to take notice. So winning helped with that for sure. You said MGP. What does that stand for? I'm sorry.
Oh, Middlebury Guy Pranksters, and then MLP is Middlebury Lady Pranksters.
Easy.
Good to know.
It actually now stands for Middlebury Get Pranksters and Middlebury Launched Pranksters. It used to be Middlebury. It used to be Middlebury Gentlemen Pranksters and Middlebury Lady Pranksters. Sorry to correct you.
No,
but
wait,
then
this is perfect. I didn't even know.
I think the year before I came to Middlebury, so it was in like 2021 or 2022, they changed it to Middlebury Get Launched Pranksters in kind of an effort to make the teams seem less gender exclusive.
I love that.
So yeah, it stands for Middlebury Get Launched Pranksters. Seems a little bit weird to say I play for Middlebury Get Pranksters, but when you put it all together, it's great.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. So I'm wondering now, are there nerves going into the nationals? I mean, you're both the men's and women's teams are going now. I know, like, Oscar was saying, you got something to prove now, for sure. But, how does it feel as you're going to the bigger games? I know you got the prankster spirit. It's all fun. But do you get to that point where it's like, okay, now we got to get serious. We're on the field now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, being the 1 seed, it definitely feels like we have everything to lose. Mm-hmm. And so we were talking about this in the car ride over, actually. Yeah, we're definitely nervous. But, I mean, nerves are natural, and nerves are good because that means you care. And, I mean, we've worked so hard this season. on the MGP side, we lost twice at our first tournament. We haven't lost since. I know that we are at the standard right now, and we're playing our best. And so, yeah, we're just really hoping that we peak at the right time. But yeah, like I said, nerves are natural, and we're embracing that.
And like you said, it means you care. What about you, Izzy? How is the women's team feeling going into the nationals?
I'd say that we don't have the same pressure. We're not seeded one necessarily, but I think we're definitely confident that we can play up and like keep playing our game. I mean, there's so many teams are going to play with different like levels of intensity, and just knowing that like we've been practicing, like we had a whole like training weekend, and that was kind of our last push before we like taper off, or however people want to like address that. But we're just excited to be competitive and go to nationals again.
I mean, what more could you ask for? You know, you have a chance to win it all, and you're all going to be there. Nathaniel, any other questions for our guests here today?
No, I'm admiring the fact I think there are so many players at schools across the country whose goal is to make it to nationals, and I think it's just a really cool thing to be going there with aspirations of winning. And so we're pulling for you here at the Sports Report, and we're hoping in a couple weeks you let us know how it goes.
Thank you. We definitely will.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We had Liam Reynolds, a handler, Oscar DeSwan Aarons is a cutter, and Izzy Laramie is a cutter as well for the Middlebury Pranksters. Good luck. Go win that national title, both of you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks for being on the Sports Report. And we're going to be right back. We're going to be talking about more on Ultimate at the high school level. Stick with us on the Sports Report. Welcome back to the Sports Report. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, joined now in the studio by Mariz Mangundayao. Hi, Mariz.
Hi, how are you?
Mariz is the youth programs coordinator for Vermont Ultimate, and she coached the South Burlington High School girls Ultimate team. So congratulations on all of that and for bringing Ultimate into the high school level. We were talking before, of course, with the Middlebury Pranksters there about their Ultimate experience, and one of the things I found amazing is that it is not a varsity sport at the college level, but Vermont is unique. We are the only state, right, where this is a varsity sport at high school.
Yeah, and it's a really great like comparison. So they were talking about how they don't get a lot of support from their schools, but on the high school side, it's really nice because the schools are able to provide the jerseys, all of the transportation, the field reservations for all the teams, just like they would for other sports. So it makes it a lot more accessible for the schools and the teams.
And it's been a varsity sport since 2017?
Yeah, 2017. So yeah, quite a bit of time.
I mean, that's remarkable. I mean, given how popular Ultimate is around the country on so many levels, are you surprised that Vermont is the only state where it's a varsity high school sport?
I think right now I am. I do know that there are some states that are working towards that, and then just other states that are kind of working in parallel, but just not getting that official varsity status. But yeah, I'm expecting a couple more states in the coming years to be officially calling it that.
How do you get the word out about this sport, especially to maybe girls who have never played a sport before and want to give it a try?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have, it's really interesting, at least with South Burlington, we have a lot of players who actually, some players that don't play typical team sports. So we have people from theater and dance, and they get their own friends that come play, or just athletes that don't want to play the other sports like lacrosse and just want to try something different. And so they're trying it out, and then they're loving it, and they're just natural athletes that really pick it up. And so we definitely rely on like people telling their friends to come play, and they're just like having fun and learning something new along the way.
I love that. So it seems like it's kind of low pressure, but that doesn't mean it's not competitive, right?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, just thinking on the boys' side, like the Montpelier boys team, I think a few years ago they were like nationally ranked. Wow. And then this year also looking really good. And so yeah, across the teams on both the boys and the girls side, it's definitely really competitive. There are athletes that can compete with other top athletes from other states.
How's the South Burlington team doing this year?
We're looking really, really good. Yeah, we just played on Saturday. We're 5-0 so far, right. And so yeah, it's definitely a big turnaround from last year where we only won a couple games, but this year we have a lot of newcomers and just returners that are really excited and motivated to win. So
go Wolves! I have to say I'm partisan. I live in South Burlington, so that's my team. I'm so glad they're doing well. I'm so so curious about and this is something that the Middlebury Pranksters were discussing too, about the self-policing of this sport. There's no referees on the field. So if, there's a play that's disputed, how does that get worked out?
Yeah, we definitely take a lot of time, teaching the rules, but there are a lot of rules and so many different ways it can be resolved. But we always tell our players, you can always make a call and you can take it back after you've discussed, maybe you saw something differently or the other player didn't see it in the same way. But if you never make a call, you can never take it back. And it's also, they can always come to coaches to clarify a rule. We can't give the ruling but we can always clarify this is what's supposed to happen. So yeah, just really making sure we're encouraging them to make those calls, but also on the other side of that is just like having the integrity to say like, oh, I don't think I was inbounds. I think I dropped the disc, and then just putting it down and it's a turnover. So it is so different from other sports. And I think it's so helpful for athletes to just like, to be just like better people, if they have that integrity.
I would imagine that is a big learning curve for people, especially if you've come from playing other sports that are referees or do have umpires or whatever. That's a different thing. But I would have to think that the discussion about respecting your teammates, respecting your opponents goes a long way in saying, at some point you're going to have to maybe compromise on something that, or even say like, I think if you think you were right, say, I'm going to let this call go the other way.
Yeah, I think definitely some of that, like, I think I'm right. I think from both sides, but it's really about just like talking it through, and you can agree to disagree, and you can always send the disc back to the previous throw. Like, if we can't agree on this, that's okay. Like, we're going to keep playing this game. And maybe we'll talk about it after this point on the sidelines. And so, just really nice to be able to do that in the sport.
And everybody loves the sport. Everyone's there for the same reason.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what do you love most about Ultimate?
I think also the Pranksters mentioned it earlier, just the culture, and just the sport really does bring in like amazing people that people that can are able to do this like self-officiating while playing, also just people that have really great energy, but also very competitive and athletic people. At the highest levels there are some amazing athletes both on the open side and the women's side, and so really cool to just have these amazing athletes that are also amazing people.
You can't get a better combination than that. Definitely not. I forgot to ask this question of the Pranksters when they were here, but how long does a typical game last? Is it broken up into halves, quarters? How's it work?
Yeah, it's they're 90 minutes typically, and usually there are halves, and you will play, depends on the tournament, but typically you play to 15. So sometimes games are really, really short if one team scores to 15 faster than the other, and then some that will go down to universe point.
So it's not clock dependent. You're not worried about that.
Technically, so once it gets to like the end of the 90 minutes, it's called hard cap, and so if it kind of depends on the situation, like whoever scores next, if the time runs out, will win it. In high school, at least, it's a little bit different with the point differential. So if one team is winning by 2 at the clock, then the game just stops. Or if they're winning by 2 or more, it just stops. There's a couple different situations.
What do you call it when the disc is caught in the end zone? Is it not a touchdown like football, is it? What is it called?
It's called a goal, or not exactly a touchdown, a point, a goal.
And you get 1 point for each when you get that in there?
When you catch it, and you can catch it when you're on offense, but you can also catch it in the end zone that you're scoring at on defense, and that is called a Callahan, which is kind of a big, like, amazing score.
Callahan, almost like a safety in football. Like a pretty rare play, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Oh, it's so cool. What about some other terminology? I know there's a throw called the hammer. Is that right?
Yes, the hammer.
How do you do that?
That one, I would say, I would compare it a little bit more to like a baseball throw. Like it's like over the head, and it's an upside down throw. There's also a scoober that's also just like a different upside down throw.
A scoober?
Scoober, yeah.
That is so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I was an okay ultimate player. I was good on defense. I have a good throw in the traditional this way, but the throw where you use, and I know, Nathaniel, you were going to show me how to do this at some point, right? The forehand, the flick of the wrist, cannot do it. How do you learn that?
That one is definitely the toughest one for people. And honestly, it just comes from like throwing a lot. It's a lot of wrist snap, and it's just reps, basically. Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool. And what's some other terminology people may not know about from the game?
There are a lot of different rules that have names. So like, well, I guess the pick is like in basketball, like you're setting a pick in basketball, but in Ultimate, it's actually not allowed because it gives the offense an advantage. And so that is one that people will definitely hear a lot when they're playing, and in the beginning it's really hard to understand conceptually. Trying to teach that to our team right now, but that's one of those.
A lot to learn. When you catch the disc, do you get a step or two before you need to throw it again, or do you have to stay stationary where you've caught it?
Yeah, so you can take it, your momentum can take you, and you can take up to 3 steps, but you can't be like speeding up or changing directions. So you do have to like try to get rid of it or try to come to a stop after you've caught it.
And is there a time commitment to how long you can hold the frisbee before you have to pass it on to a teammate?
Yes, you do have 10 seconds. So the thing with that is, since it is self-officiated, it's the person that's on defense that's counting. And so you say stall 1, stall 2, stall 3.
Stall 3, yeah.
A lot of times people speed up that count. And so I think the average time is actually like 8 seconds that people are stalling when someone has the disc. So some do it a little bit slower, some do it a little faster.
So there's a little bit of gamesmanship. I mean, again, we're all looking for mutual respect and everything, but there can be some gamesmanship there.
Yeah. Definitely.
What's sort of the coolest thing you've ever seen on the field? I mean, have you seen some great comebacks? Have you seen some just amazing throws?
I think, I don't know. There's definitely been a lot. I've been playing Ultimate for a really long time. Probably, I think, trying to remember some international tournament that was actually moved indoors because of some like bad weather, and so Ultimate indoors is actually just so different. There's no conditions, no wind, weather, so it's just a whole different game. And there were some really amazing plays in that game.
I'm really glad you brought that up, because that's what I meant to ask before. The wind factor is amazing to me. Like when would a game get called for wind? Would it have to be like gale force pretty much?
I don't think I've ever seen one called. Like really? I've definitely played in some back in college where I would try to throw the disc and it's just gonna go, and it's very much like downwind, upwind, which is something you do have to consider when there's weather like that. It's like, what side of the field do you want to start on, and which side?
Change your strategy too. Maybe short passes.
Yes,
real
exactly.
quick.
And they mentioned, like Izzy mentioned the zone defense, and so that makes the game a little bit different, and offense has to adjust as well.
Mariz, tell me about how people who are interested in this and want to find out more about playing Ultimate at the high school level, what should they do? What steps should they take?
Yeah, so on my Vermont Ultimate side, we're definitely focusing a lot on youth right now, because like having the sport on the varsity side is really amazing, but the only way that we're going to have athletes at the varsity and high school level is if people know about it in the middle school level. So for us, we're working on some PE takeovers all around the state. So going to actual schools, middle schools mostly, to help the PE teachers run the programs. And so I know, like, I remember going to school and learning about Frisbee, and it was just kind of like, oh, you just throw and then you take 3 steps when you catch, but it's actually like what we mentioned earlier, it's like the momentum. And so just helping the PE teachers like talk about the sport and teach it, and then getting kids interested to want to play in the middle school teams or the high school level.
Well, it's a remarkable run of success. So glad it's at the varsity level here, and I'm so glad that you've got this as a big thing in South Burlington. Thank you so much for all the work you do with that. Mariz Mangundayao is the youth programs coordinator for Vermont Ultimate and coaches the South Burlington Wolves Girls High School Ultimate team. And thank you so much for tuning into the Sports Report today. If you missed any of today's show, you can find it on our YouTube channel. You can also catch the show on Vermont Public Radio Monday nights at 8, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts. And you can find out more about the show, how to get in touch with us as well at vermontpublic.org/sports. The Sports Report is a production of Vermont Public, produced by Nathaniel Wilson. The technical director is Mike Dunn, with Kyle Ambusk on graphics, Joey Palumbo on cameras, and video production assistance from Dave Rice and Brian Stevenson. Our audio engineer is Pete Engish. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, your host for this program that's all about the world of sports in Vermont and beyond. Thanks so much for watching, and join us next week on the Sports Report.